Okay, I am back, and let me tell you, this was incredibly tough to put one of these things in. Um, I tell you, I was beginning to think it wasn't possible. Let me tell you, for putting this one in over here that I started, I thought, okay, let's try it dry without anything, because maybe then because I knew that I had to squish it down. Well, first let me show you a drawing that I made, something that's a little different than this, something that we might be able to see here better and understand. So this is a cross section through one of the valves here. You know what we see with this valve right here that comes down. So it's like a 45 angle right here, grind, and that's what seals it. When the valve comes down, it seals on those edges. And then you have a pocket that comes down a ways, which is, according on the drawing, that's what we see right here. This is this pocket here. Then there's a smaller hole right here, and then it opens back up to nearly that size, but a little smaller, as far as I could tell. And this is the area that the seal must go into. Let me pull a seal out of here. Okay, yes, so here we are with the groove up. I don't know if you can even get a close-up of that and see it. It's really tough, but there's a groove there. Anyway, so what you have to do is basically, you gotta get it through this small opening in here. And that means you're trying to shove it into this corner here, and then hopefully you can poke the other side down and poke it into that corner, so it'll pop out. And so you have to squeeze this thing. You see how I can take it here and I can, squeeze it into an oval. God, I can hardly hold it here. Squeeze it into an oval like that. And that part has to get popped into this corner right here. And every time I tried it, you're working, this is only a 1/4 inch diameter right here, so you're working down inside this thing. And I train with tweezers, and literally the tweezers are darn near it. By the time you get it down here, you can't even see, because the hole is so small, you can't even see around the tweezers. Did I get it in the hole? And you're looking, and it's like, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I've got it squished and down in one side like that. Sometimes it went straight in, and I thought, no, it's got to go over. It can't go down into this hole here. And so I try to move it, and then get it and look, and I got it. Okay, so then by the time I grab the part that's sticking up, it's because it's at an angle. It's at an angle in there, and I'm trying to grab the part that's sticking up and squish it and poke it down. I can't let go of the tweezers. I mean, I can let go, but they won't open up because I'm down into this hole with the rest of the stuff trying to hold it there, and the tweezers are closed, and there they are sitting there. If I pull the tweezers up, the whole thing comes up with it, and I thought, oh shoot, I can't let go because it's pinched, holding the tweezers together. So I thought, well, let me try lubing it. So I lubed it all up. Boy, did that something. I get it in squished, and then by the time I reached it, boing, it pops out. I had it go in here and wing and roll clear around where it rolled with the groove up. And I thought, no, I don't want the groove up. And I flipped it around, trying to get it again, trying to get it in there. I literally worked for a half an hour, maybe longer. And finally, I got one side of this down pinched in there. And then I grabbed, because it's an oval in there like that, squished and sticking up. And I grabbed it with the tweezers, and I pushed down, and again, I can't let go. And so I thought, well, I got to hold it there, and there's no room. So I slid this little screwdriver down from the inside here, and I got it right on top, and then I was able to pull this out. And I thought, okay, there it is. and I tried my best to poke in some more. And amazingly, I got some more in, and I was afraid to use this thing because it's so small and it's kind of sharp. So I switched to a little bigger screwdriver, and I got the tip to where there was just a teeny little piece of the rubber sticking up. And that's when I like used this guy, and I pushed, and it went boing, and it popped in, and it opened up, and I could see the hole through the middle. And after literally a half an hour or more, I was beginning, you know, I mean, before I even got it, I should say I stopped. I Googled, does anybody do this successfully and how? I couldn't find anything at the Google search on the valve seal inserting from, you know, a Cison V8. And so, you know, I'm thinking a lot of people either put it in the other way, upside down, which is probably easier because you got a groove right there that you know, you can hold the thing and poke it in. But when it's flipped over, you don't have that groove. And so anyway, I couldn't find anything, but I did get it in. And so then I thought, okay, it was late, and I thought, I'm going to go to bed. And the thing was, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know it's possible because I did it. And that was something that I thought, okay, do I want to spend 30 to 40 minutes per valve trying to get the rest of them in? Because that's a lot. I mean, I had to do 7 more. And so I thought, there's got to be a tool or something that I can come up with. You know, I'm a retired mechanical engineer and also a manufacturing engineer. And I couldn't sleep for a lot. You know, I was awake thinking about this, thinking about how to do it. And what I came up with, I made this guy today. Basically, since I said this was 1/4 inch right here, and this is a 1/4 inch aluminum rod, I just turned this down about 4/1000ths of an inch. So if anybody knows the decimals, a 1/4 inch is 0.25. And so if I measure this, I'm 246. Okay, so it slides in fine. And what I do, and it slides in enough for this bottom here to seat up all the way down against here. And so I was able to measure this diameter by using drills. I have a whole set, since I have a machine shop and all. I've got all the fractions, the letters, and the number drills. And so I would try a drill. See, I started with, let's say, the 3/16 drill. And I didn't use the pointed end, the sharp end. I flip it around, you know, the end that normally you put into the drill, you know, the drill part, chuck. And so I'd set it down in there, and I could feel it rattle. So I said, okay, so it's bigger than 3/16. So then I went up to, let's say, I went into the number drills. I went up to an 11, 191. Put it in, it fell in pretty easy, and I could still feel it wiggle. I went all the way up to an 8, number 8, which is 0.199. And I thought, okay, that fit in, and I can hardly feel it wiggle. It's probably was bored at a 0.2, I'm guessing. Anyway, so I cut this little pocket here, and it goes down 1/8 of an inch. And that pocket, let me see if I can measure it. It's 199, same size as that. So when this piece goes down and is held, the inside of this is even with those lines. And so I thought, okay, if I can just jam that seal, this little seal right here, down inside of this hole, this area, and then put it into the thing and hold it there, and then I have an 1/8 of an inch hole. It's actually a little bigger. This is 1/8 of an inch rod that fits in nicely. I reamed this a couple thousandths bigger. So once I get the O-ring, once I get the O-ring stuck in here, and of course I do it with the groove up, because by the time I turn it around and put it into the area, the port, it's in the correct direction. And then I'm thinking, okay, well then all I gotta do is shove it out, because I'm holding it right here, and once I poke it on in, it should pop into this area. And so here's the guy that I was working on. I have them all done. This guy took me, it's probably more than a half an hour. So when I had this tool done, and I did the same thing, and I got it all poked in here, and I went into here, and I push, wham, it went right in. And literally that probably took me under a minute. Then I did another one, even less time. This one, I got it mostly, and I had a little piece sticking up that I had to poke in. This one went completely in perfectly. When I put it down, I shoved it in, it just popped out, and I didn't have to do anything. I think I did all 3 of these in under 5 minutes. Okay, I got my tool. This is the answer. So I'm going to show you how I did this, how it works. Okay, so I'm going to pull all my stuff away. And this is all I need. But I'm going to have to take one of these off, and it's always the big one here. So let's dismantle this one. So we have to push down. See, there's like a C-ring in there. I don't know if you can see it, but once you push this down, let me see if I can get my fingernail on one side and get it down. There. Now you see it's the ring is sticking up. I can grab a hold of the ring and pull it off, and then I can let this up. I can take this guy off and the spring off, and now I can pull the valve out. There. Okay, and so now we're talking about all of that way down deep inside there. Okay, and as I said, this is set to fit right in there, just like that. It'll go all the way down and hold. Okay, so now I have my seal. I do want a little bit of lube on it. I tried it both ways, and it does work better with a little lube. So I'm going to put some on my finger and get it all over here. Okay. Now, the trick here is to shove this thing down inside of this little opening, and you can see it's quite big. And so I'm going to keep it on the table. I keep my finger here, and you can see it flips up a little bit, like that, it's flipped up. But then I use my other fingernail and try to get it to jam in there. And what it basically is doing is it's wrinkling the heck out of it, but at least we're going to try to get it to go in and stay there. See, now if I let go, it popped back up. So I'm not quite down good enough. This part you have to fight a little bit, but it's nothing like the other thing. I think what I'm going to try is to, maybe I can use this guy to help me shove it in there. You may be seeing me not work it so easily. Like I got lucky before and 3 other ones, and I'll be fighting this one forever probably. Yeah, see, it's like not doing it for me. Let me see if I can't push it this way. I think what the problem is it's not, it went down into that other hole. I tell you, now that I got the camera running, it's not going to work for me. Stubborn thing. All right, let's see if that worked. Oh, it's coming back up. The lube is still making it pop out. Let me try turning it a little bit. Maybe I can get that other side in. I don't know. Maybe if I get it down quick enough, it won't come out. Let's try that. Okay, I'm down against it. All right, now let's try to see if I can poke it in. Well, let's see what I got. Oh. Oh, it's in. Can you see that? It is in. Yes. Okay. It is in. It's below the groove and I can see the hole through it. Just went right in. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of lube now on the shaft here before I poke it through. And then it just goes in there like that. I can get it through the hole. There. Down it goes. All right, now we just redo it. Put the spring on. And we got to put this cup thing on top. Oops, it flipped on me. Goes like this. Now, what I found, I'm really glad I have these particular tweezers. I believe they came from the jeweler area because it's got this clamp on it. If I push it up, it holds it down. I think it was meant to hold like diamonds while you examine them safely. And so if I just clip onto this guy like this, there, it'll slide that up. Now it's held. I don't have to hold on to that. So now I have to push this down, and then I can slide this in, and then I gotta release it, and then I gotta let that up. There. There it is. Got one done with the seal in it. Ha ha! I really did want to have these seals work to try it, because most everybody, the videos I saw, it says they're an oil burner. This engine will burn oil, it sucks it in and blows it out the exhaust, and it smokes. And I'm hoping, because this says install the valve oil seals optional, I'm wondering if, you know, people had trouble actually putting them in, or they could only put them in this way rather than the way you were supposed to put them in. I don't know, but when I start it up, we'll see if this happens to be an oil burner as well. Then it doesn't make any difference if I put them in or not, but I think it has to help, because oil could be sucked right down through this when the intake is open. When the piston's coming down, I can see where it will pump oil right into it. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest on my own. You saw a little bit. I get a little faster at poking this thing in here, and just so you know, you don't have to get it perfect. I mean, there was like a little bump sticking up, but I was able to get it into the spot, push the rest of it down, and it popped right out just fine. Okay. Okay, we are back now. For the last thing here is to actually install the cylinder heads right up here. Looks like a pretty simple thing. We have the gaskets, and longer screws go up above and a little shorter ones go down below. And it says install the cylinder heads on both sides. Okay, so I've already done the one, so we didn't have to sit here too long and wait. Now we'll do the other one here. It's like the gaskets, they're kind of a rubbery feel to them. All right, so let me, like I said, I'm gonna put a little bit of the lube on both sides. And we don't have to go clear up to the top up here. Let's move that forward a little bit. All right, and then this side. Okay, let's rock this back a little bit and we'll set it on here. Doesn't look like it wants to stay. There. All right, set that on. Set that on. Line up everything. I'm going to just manually put a few in and then we'll torque them down afterwards. So let's take a short one down into this corner here just to get it started. There. And we'll do another short one down into this corner. There. And we can do a long one up onto this guy and another long one over here. That should make sure everything is held, the gasket and all. There. There. Okay, I'll drop the rest of the long screws in and the rest of the shorter screws. They're nice here. Look at how much thread is engaged into the block. They really have a long distance there. Very tough to strip then that way. There. All right, now we'll go ahead and torque them down. I went ahead for this thing. This is an actual 3mm screw and into aluminum, and it's the socket cap bolt, and it says 1.5, which is maximum torque. I'm not exactly sure if that means if I went 1.6, the screw would break or the thing, but I've decided to set that to 1.4 because I just don't know. I don't think I want to do maximum. So I'm going to do a star pattern. We'll do here and then 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 come straight down and go back like that. Then I'll go back over them all again and make sure that they're there, down. Okay, so here's the first one. Make sure we snug that a little bit, and then we're gonna go there. And then I'll come over to this side. Here we go. There, and then we'll drop over to here. There, and then we'll drop over to here. There, and then come up to the top of this side here. There, and then we'll drop over here. There, and then come over to this one. There, and then over to this one. There, and up to this one. There, and the last one. There, and now we'll go back over them all. There, there. Oops, get in there. There. Okay, they should be good. Yep. Yep. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Look at how we're doing here. Now we got the covers on. Pretty cool. Now we'll have to work on getting the cam shaft to be working these up and down. Yep, they work fine. Okay, I will round up the parts and we'll get working on the cam linkages and all. Well, the next thing we got to do is get the camshaft going, as I think I said. And it says to find number 59, which I pulled it out of there, and insert 16 pillars into the picture indicator. I guess that's all these red things. The pillar screw groove is facing the cylinder head. That's an interesting way to say that. The pillar screw groove. Well, it turns out that these little pillars here actually are have a screw head top. I guess that was a fast way to make a little cup there for the lifter pins to go into. So they want those to go with the screw. It's really the screw head going up. So we would drop one in here like that, if you can see it. And we'll get another one like that. And continue down the line here. That one's got to gripped it too far in there. And rotate that around. There. There. Okay. And there. All right. Another set. Here. Come on. There we go. Next. There. And last one. Okay. Then, next page, it says to install the push rods. Insert 16 push rods into the cylinder heads on both sides. Push the lever, I guess they mean push the pin, in the part bag, into the screw head. Perfect, they did say screw head right now. Okay, so they're gonna go through the little slots and sit inside of the recesses of each screw. So there's the slots that they go into, like that. And here's a bag of pins. So let's take them out. All right, so let's give it a try. We drop one down here, and I gotta lift it up and put it into the screw head, just like that. All right, drop another one and put it into the screw head. Okay, so that's gonna be easily done. There, it's easy to put them in by hand there, and then grab them with the tweezers and fit them into the screw head. There. Here. There. There. All right, there's a set done. We'll come over here, do the other one. There. Last one. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness, now we got to build the whole rocker arm assembly. Looks like it's got nuts and set screws and a shaft with end caps and springs in between. Okay, I'll have to round up that equipment, and I'll build one on camera and build the other one off camera. So it says the shaft fixing the rod in the gasket bag. Oh, they tell you that. I knew it was in the gasket bag because I got them right here. And as shown in the figure, assemble 2 sets of rocker arm assemblies. Okay, I'll get the parts. All right, we're up to building the set of rocker arm assemblies. They're long set put together on a rod with some springs in between. And I pre-built one already here. So you can see there's a collar that you anchor down, and then you start stacking the parts. A couple of rockers with a spacer in between, and then a spring. Rocker, spacers, and a spring. Rocker, spacer, rocker, and a spring, and the same thing, and then you cap it off. So I've already got 2 of them here going, and I thought I'd just continue on and show you. It's quite simple. Here's the springs and the rocker arms. There's the collar. These are the spacers. There's nuts, and there's little screws that we will use for the setting of the distance the rocker makes connection with. So I have to use feeler gauges and set a gap when it's down. Okay, so we'll just stick a spring on for the next set, and then you take a rocker, and this is the part that's going to rock down onto the valve. And then we'll thread from the bottom here. When you look at that, you see, so we're doing it this way, and put the bolt in. And this is, again, going to work on these rods. So the rods go into the little hex area there. That's how they did this fairly cheaply rather than making a custom thing. And I don't know where to set them, so I'm pretty much screwing them most of the way in. And then there's these little nuts again, and I'm going to put there's just this, again, there's this thin little flange that forms the hex. It's really skinny. So I'm putting that up so I can at least get a wrench to it. And by the way, I used one of these when I put in the oil pump here, because when I went in to grab them, they were right here, number 27, and it says there are 17 in there. Well, not really. There were 16 of these kind and one regular black nut that they're counting as the same part, which technically it's not the same part. But I had so many other parts in there, I never saw the little black thing. So I stuck one of these on to hold the oil pump. Since then, I have changed and found the little guy, the little black nut, and I put it back so that I had the correct 16 of these other nuts here. Anyway, so that's how I back to where they're supposed to be. Okay, so this guy goes on, and then we put a spacer, and I learned from looking at this that the big hole goes to the back. See, there's a big hole and a smaller hole. Okay, now I got to do another rocker, and let's put the adjustment screw in. That's hitting a burr. There we go. Almost all the way. Thread a nut on. Get it down to where it locks, and then we thread it in place. Where's the hole? There we go. And now it would require this spacer again. Big hole to the back, away from me, and put it on. Okay. No, spring goes on. Spring goes on, then we put this on with the big hole to the back. There. All right, last two of the rockers. We hold it correctly and put the adjustment screw in from the bottom. There. Almost all the way in. Put a nut on the top. There. And we're running out of room here, so I can just barely get this one on. Then I'm going to have to compress everything. Oops, I may have to wait anyway and compress it. It won't quite fit. Okay, so let's get... oh, sorry, this goes on first. Spacer goes in between. There. And the big hole and the spacer in between. There. Okay, last one. Hold it correctly. There. Put the adjustment screw in. All the way. Put the nut on. Come on. All these small parts take nimble fingers. There. And then we have the collar. So now I'm going to have to compress them a little bit. And we'll put the rocker on. And then we got to put this collar on. And I've been holding them to where it's flush. There. Lock that down. Okay. So there. Let's see, this flips around. There. And there. Okay, this one needs to lay down flat, I put that, oh shoot. I put that one on. Oh, I put those two on wrong. Oh, how embarrassing. Okay, so we're gonna have to start over. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, dummy. You just flip it around. Okay. There. Spring. Rocker. Rockers could go on backwards. Rocker. This guy. Curve up. Big hole in the back. That's correct. Rocker, arm, spring, rocker. Yeah, spring rocker, spacer, big hole in the back. I thought I did those okay. Another rocker. All right, now we lock it down. I think I had it correctly anyway, but oh well. That's a little sticking up. There. All right, it was all a matter of how you set it on the table. There, and that has to go this way. Yeah. And then I got the rocker space like that. That looks good. And then we have to go rocker, spacer flips around. That's the problem. There, it flips around, and that one is there. Good, good, good. That looks right. Big holes are in the back, small holes are in the front. Okay, they're both done. Install the rockers. I need number 12 screws, according to the drawing here. And what does that say? Push the lever in the gasket bag. What? Push the lever in the gasket bag onto the screw head. Push the lever in the gasket bag onto the screw head. What in the lever? Push the lever into the screw head. I think what they're saying is the rods. Make sure that the rods go into the screw head coming up. Those are these rods that are coming up right here at the top when they stick up right here. Make sure those go into the screw heads, which is into the hex part of a socket screw. Okay, so I need number 12. I need 4 of them across there. Where's the number 12s? In here? No. That's not right. I've used everything in here, and those weren't the right screws. What in the world's with this manual? The only place I've got long screws is over here, and those are number 2, 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 8. I bet you those are the 8 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My goodness. Those are number 2 screws, not 12. Like it says, number 12. Somebody stuck a 1 in front of there, which shouldn't have been. All right. How big are those? I think those are here. Yeah, those are too small for my torque wrench. So let's see how they fit. This is supposed to go this direction on here. This could be fun, trying to figure this out, trying to get those things to go up in there. Wow. And does that just bolt flat down like that? Oh, it does. Okay. So, where did they go? Yeah. They go into the big holes. I guess they would have to. Yeah, they go into the big holes. Okay, so how am I going to make sure everything is in here? I think what I have to do is turn it here and try my best to get them lined up all at the same time. Ouch. Oh, this guy fell out. No wonder he's not in there. This guy fell out. Oh, A lot of them did. I must have been shaking this around. Okay, anybody out over here? Those are all in. Those are all in. I had ones that were out along here. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so what I got to do is I'm gonna have to just barely put these screws in. Does it say anything about Loctite on them? Important. Adjust valve. Oh, okay, that's after I get it. Push the lever in the gasket bag. Those are those arms into the screw heads. Okay, that's all it basically says. So we're going to put these screws down into the big hole until they catch. Okay, that one caught. And oh my goodness, this is going to be fun trying to line up eight of them at the same and get them to fit before clamping this thing down. And I gotta turn this towards me. I can't screw with it facing away. Okay, that went in. And this one. Is that one going in? I can't tell. I gotta take my glasses off. I can't see. Oh, I see what the issue is. There, those pins were up. It was pinching too hard. Okay. All right. Well, I can lift it up a little bit. All right, so this guy has to go in here. This is going to be fun. You see, I have to guide them all into those little screw heads. I may have to adjust them down when I get them. So if I loosen the nuts, and I got a little screwdriver here. Is that too big? No, that'll work. I can tighten that down. Nope, I missed that one completely. So let's bring it all the way up. See if I can't get that guy in. Okay, he's in. Now this is gonna take a while. As you can see, I have to go around with all of these things and try to get them into these holes. That one in? I think so. I think I'll lengthen it down. Yeah, those two are in. And what about the next two? Wow, that one came out from below. Holy mackerel, this is gonna be tedious. I think I've got him. And what about the other one? No. Oh, I think I got him. All right, so I'm gonna have to lengthen those out so they can't come down anymore. Let's loosen that and loosen that one. There. Whew. Oh, I don't think he's in. Nope. Anyway, all right. I'm going to be fighting this like crazy, trying to get these into the heads of those bolts and then tighten those screws down. Okay, well, that's the whole goal. I'll bring you back when I get at least one side.